Haribol, Namaste, everyone. This is Kala from JaishreeYoga.com and also SoulMappingMatrix.com, where we offer practical spirituality and real results. And speaking of real results, I'm here today to talk about the third phase of our soul mapping matrix in this first realm of grounding. It's a follow-up on my talk yesterday. We're going to be going live from Facebook. I'm going to say every day, why not? Let's commit and just unleash that power and say, we're going to go live every day and we're going to be just teaching from the soul mapping matrix, going in, reflecting out. It'll probably take a soul mapping live format at a near date, and we really look forward to bringing that to you. But today I am just feeling on fire and really want to dive into this realm of choice and what it means to make choices in an empowered way, and a way that honors intuition, channels psychic radiance and abundance, and to talk about warrior mentality, which is something for everyone. So yesterday, just to recap, because we're talking about this realm of grounding, and to even take a little bit of a wide view back from that first realm, to let you know that in our work in the Soul Mapping Matrix, we look at this process of manifesting our highest intentional dreams into reality and embodying our deepest, most truest sense of self in three realms. We have the realm of grounding, which is also the realm of commitment. We have the second realm of healing, which is also the realm of meditate. And we have the third realm of ascension, or the realm of manifesting. And this first realm, for me in particular, and so many of our students, is really where the rubber meets the road. It's the commitment. It's the always returning, and the always present and always accessible. It's the most practical in some ways of all three realms, but they work synergistically the more we go through this and have it in our consciousness as a map and a lens and a toolbox, and yes, sometimes a sword, sometimes a shield, sometimes it's a wonderful blanket to seek refuge in. We get to get what we need from it in the moments. So yesterday I spoke about awareness plus desire equals transformation, and shared a little bit about my experience with having difficult conversations. And who isn't having difficult conversations right now? If you're not having difficult conversations right now, then I think there's some people in your life that really deserve you to show up in your full sense, and deserve that presence, and you deserve that gift to show up in those relationships. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience that my growth just 10x's in my relationship work. I can do so much. We're a yoga teaching certification school. We've certified 5 classes at the Soul Culture Yoga School. So we have this joke of, yoga happening on the mat, but what happens when I leave my mat? What happens when I leave the studio? You can say the same for the meditation space. You can say the same for the prayer circle, for the sweat lodge, for the kirtan, for the dojo, whatever your training space is. That is a space to embody practices and techniques that just pop up when you need them most. I used to train martial arts, and we trained judo, and we learned how to fall, so that when we slipped on the ice, that fall just became second nature, and we knew how to fall in a way that wouldn't break our arm, right? So we can see especially this realm of grounding as a set of tools and techniques and a way of being in consciousness, so that when we're having these conversations and in relationship with everyone that's in our life, that A, we don't miss opportunities, B, we don't reinforce old patterns, and C, we don't get left with that feeling of, I just didn't really show up in the way that either I wanted to, or I said the wrong thing, or maybe said the right thing, but wasn't able to hold space for whoever we're in relationship with when they're then reflecting that their truth. And I want to speak about that now in this realm of grounding. So we have awareness first. We have core desire that's second. Awareness, the mantra is I hear, I see, and I feel. And that's always there for us, and especially important when we're in relationships so that we don't lose ourselves. This is one of the number one things that we hear from our students, whether they be taking our 200 hours yoga certification course, whether they be our mentees that we work with, whether they be just someone that we're teaching a yoga class to. How does this apply in my real life? How do I not get taken over when I'm in relationships? How do I speak my truth and fulfill this equation that I'm throwing out there? Awareness plus core desire equals transformation. So core desire is really the secret ingredient. If awareness is the portal, then core desire is the key that unlocks the doorways to true transformational growth in our lives. And we call it the pivot to positivity. What is it that we are pivoting to in a relationship? So for me, in difficult conversations that I am having, the pivot is something that is true. It's my one true thing. I like to keep things simple, and it's something that I have experienced, that I feel in my bones in that relationship, that I can speak to and reflect off of and return to in that particular situation. Now, this is specifically having difficult conversations when we need to express a difficult truth that we haven't expressed before. And when doing that, I find it's especially important, again, to keep it simple and to have something that you are rock solid in. I saw that, I felt it, I heard it, and that is what I continuously pivot to and pivot from. And there's a positivity in that because it's a way to ground ourselves in a conversation. And especially with someone that is a loved one that has been in our life for a long time, things can get messy and we can get pulled into the past, or we can get blasted off into the future, and all these different directions that might not even really be useful or relate to the present moment of where we are in our truth, the conversation we're having, and opening up our chakras, opening up our energy, opening up our intuition, and getting into some of the higher aspects of the soul mapping matrix. We talk about psychic radiance, radiating our psychic abundance, and also practicing magic and devotion. And those things happen from trust and going through this process and really allowing things to unfold and co-creating with life in the moment. And yeah, that might sound mystical, but we have a 3x3 grid, 3-realmed process in a 2-week course where we break this down and we make it super practical. Spirituality is practical. That's what our teachers always say, that at the end of the day, if you're not happy, then something's wrong. And there's a process for these, for how spirituality gets built into our consciousness. And this is not something that we're just pulling out of nowhere. We are longtime students of yoga and specific lineage, and have studied very deeply in other wisdom traditions, as well as teaching so many students, working and serving their bodies, which is the most humbling practice that I've ever been through, to serve the body as a yoga asana teacher, to teach to that body, let the body, the wisdom of the body really be a guide and be the focal point for service. So all of these things have come together into what we teach. And so back to the pivot to positivity and the one true thing. So something that I've been finding really, really magical is to sort of see things in maybe 3 parts or 2 parts. So the first is being in that phase of awareness. This is, again, having a difficult conversation, especially with a loved one, someone that you have a lot of history with. So something's happening. Have a conversation and allow that conversation to be that first phase of awareness, or we say in discovery is another great mantra for this. I hear, I see, I feel. You're in discovery in this phase. You are just allowing whatever is to be to rise to the surface and to again be experienced and to be felt, to be seen, to be heard. And when I do this, and when our students do this, and of course Jaishree and I, we do this with each other, and we do work with couples, by the way, with our soul mapping coaching packages, as well as with one-on-one, that when this happens and we allow things to rise to the surface, that one true thing will surface. Very often it's in that conversation, and it's an emotional it's an emotion, it's something is said. For me, it's always something said by the other person, and something is revealed, and that's my one true thing, and I can pivot off of that. And so I allow that conversation to be in discovery, and then I have the second conversation at another point, and then I go in there very tactically, and I have that one true thing, and I go in there, and when I do, I'm also in this third phase of grounding, which is choice. And in choice, our mantra, or the landscape that we see, is the battlefield. And we see it as a battlefield, as so many other wisdom traditions do, whether it be the Islamic tradition, which sees both an inner and an outer jihad. The greater jihad is the inner jihad, that struggle that we all have as human beings. As they say, we're all divided in two, and we have, good and evil, or the higher nature or the lower nature, or the bad wolf or the good wolf, and which one are you feeding? Which one is going to thrive and grow within ourselves? We all have that inner struggle, and that is the greater jihad, the greater struggle. But there is a lesser jihad as well. We see this in the Bhagavad Gita with the story of Arjuna and Krishna, that there is both the internal struggle that Arjuna is manifesting for the reader, and exhibiting this pastime of confusion and doubt, and going to Krishna and humbling and asking for guidance and teaching. But there is also, of course, the greater that is the greater struggle. There is the external battle that is occurring, and we are all very much right now on the battlefield in every way, shape, and form for the way things are moving in our own lives, and how we are going to be either progressing or not, or going backwards. And that's a reality that can be a very hard thing to swallow, and it's one of the keys to not falling into one of these traps of spiritually bypassing situations, which is to just love and light our way out of things, which does not work. Love is the only truth, and yet love produces all truths and all forms and all responses and all possibilities. And there is no bypassing the real work that needs to be done when we must face our own shadow. And when that shadow is revealed to us in moments of conflict, in moments of going against one another's truth and defining our own truth, it's inherent in the process of being human. And to make a choice is to be discerning and to choose, and very often to oppose, to say no, to say yes, to commit. And so we embrace this, and it can be seen with just one little, I like to read, psychology and read, just sort of keep a pulse on all the different ways that, spirituality is practical and observable. That there is this research that's done on PTSD with military troops, and when we're looking at active duty soldiers that are more in what we call special ops, or going in for a specific mission, maybe not even specifically special ops, but going into a mission knowing they're going into combat, very specific objective. They go in, they go out, the incidence of PTSD is way down because they're going in eyes open, we're active, we know what we're walking into. Versus where we often see PTSD is on patrols, is, you know, soldiers that are doing rounds and they're ambushed, or they encounter an improvised explosive device, or something happens and their mind is in a passive mode. And this is the psychological insight, that our mind has an active mode and a passive mode. And when our mind is in an active mode, we are more resilient to things that would throw us off guard, or curveballs that life throws us our way, or the karma that's just going to be coming to us. And karma is always coming to us. Our experiences are always coming. Our teachers say problems are always coming. There's no stopping the problems. So the solution is always internal. So what can we do to cultivate an active consciousness? And this is what we mean by choice is on the battlefield, because we are on the battlefield. So when I walk into that conversation, especially that second time, it's there in the first time, and I seek to cultivate that in all of my relationships and all my encounters. It doesn't mean that I'm an asshole. It doesn't mean that I'm callous. It doesn't mean that I am not compassionate. But what it does mean is that I am sovereign. What it does mean is that I am an inherent individual, and that my individuality is my spiritual identity, and that no one can take that away, and no one can define that for me except for God, Source, how I choose to see it. And I choose to say Krishna, and that's my choice. It's my sovereign choice, and all of us have sovereign choice in that regard. That is the fundamental basis of our spirituality. So we seek to bring that into all of our affairs. And when I walk into a conversation and I am in that core desire, pivoting choice realm, and I know exactly what I want to at least be communicating in my truth. This isn't about the objective, but it's about not fucking about with fuckery. Straight up, unfuckwithability is what this is. Unflappability. That's what we seek to cultivate, and that's where, as we say in the realm of grounding, the rubber meets the road. How grounded are you when the storm comes, when the trigger comes? Are you ready to step through that portal? Do you have the key? If you don't have it, can you be okay with that? Can you just hear, see, and feel? And not freak out? And maybe you'll discover. Or maybe the key will present itself in that moment. And we can open the door and we can step through. For sure, it's an always process. We can always return to the beginning. And that's why the 9 phases end at the very end of the realm of manifest with serve, share, and repeats, which is the cyclical nature of life. We are always serving, we are always sharing, and we are always repeating. And we can always start again. We can always choose to ground and choose to commit. We can always show up. We can always do our healing work, and our healing work is always. Our meditation is a process as much as a goal, maybe even more process. As we say, the process is the goal, and the goal is the process. I feel so much gratitude and love and light for you all, for this amazing opportunity we have right now to be sharing our message, all of us, to be showing up in our work. It's our esteemed joy and bliss to be sharing, and we hope that we can serve you in some way, whether it's with this video, smashing that like button, sharing it. If you're seeing us on YouTube, you can subscribe. You can sign up for our free newsletter and get our free book, Soul Ascension, written and channeled by Jaishree, before the craziness of 2020 unfolded. It's all there. You can get our free guide, How to Turn Your Triggers into Portals for Growth in 3 Easy Steps. You can join us in the Soul Mapping Matrix, our 2-week self-guided course, Practical Spirituality, Real Results, lifetime access to this course. And if you're ready for a quantum leap, you can hop on us with a discovery call. 20 minutes of our time for free for you to focus in, get grounded with you. Where are you in your meditation? Where are you in your highest ascension? And we can choose quantum leap. We can do that one-on-one coaching. And we can, if you're a coupleship looking to step into majestic coupleship, we got your back. Kalal from JaishreeYoga.com, SoulMappingMatrix.com, and as we say, flipping the script, we'll see you in the Matrix. Namaste, Haribol, Radhe Radhe.